How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to 𝐅𝐎𝐎𝐍𝐋𝐄. We are back with the big match preview. It's been a while since I've been on the channel. It's been a while since we've all been on the channel, to be fair. Apart from Scott. Scott was obviously doing the watch-along last week. But we have got...
TV.
All Scott TV. But it is long time and no see. It is Rhiannon. Let's go straight to Rhiannon first. How are things, Rhiannon?
Yeah, everything's great at the moment. I've had a bit of time off, obviously, because I got married and went on honeymoon and things like that. And it's been very crazy at work, but glad to be back.
Just to wish it was in happier terms in terms of Leeds United. You know, it's not been the best of seasons. I think, but before you kind of like stopped doing videos, we were like flying. We were pushing for Europe, Rhiannon. We were pushing for Europe that time. I'm not blaming you, Rhiannon, but I'm just saying there's a coincidence there.
Well,
I'm messing. But guys, look, tomorrow, there's no getting around the fact it could be decisive, both good and bad. It could be a game where all of a sudden we find ourselves way clear of relegation, or it could be the game where we invite everyone back in. You know, if Watford did win tomorrow, all of a sudden Watford are 3 points closer to us, and it gives an opportunity to Burnley and Everton to close the gap as well. So, it's the nerves tomorrow, Scott. Is it fair to say, are you nervous or you're excited going into tomorrow?
Nervous and excited, multiple reasons. And I'm almost relieved that I'm not doing a watch along tomorrow, because I dare say I'd be demonetized and possibly told off by the boss. I just think it's going to be one of these games, and it's. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be bumpy, and it's going to be squeaky bum for 90 minutes.
Yeah, look, it doesn't matter how it is tomorrow. If it's a nice game, if it's a horrible game, if it's an easy game, if it's a really difficult game, it doesn't matter. As long as we get something from this game, for me, as long as we get something. A win's ideal, but as long as we get something, it's another game ticked off. It's another game closer to survival. Might be a very negative way of looking at it, but for me, that's the way I'm looking at it, to be totally honest with you guys. But make sure you're smashing that like button in the hand. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already as well. We are pushing for 25,000 subscribers. Thanks to you, fantastic subscribers on the channel. Yeah, as Scott says, smash that like. Smash that like. I mean, Rhiannon, look, what have you made of Jesse Marsch so far? The first 5 games, 7 points, 2 wins, a draw, 2 defeats. What have you made of it so far?
I really like the guy. I think he's starting to make a good impression. I'm thinking I'm very impressed with how well the team have took up his maybe I guess you could say philosophy, his tactics, just especially players like Rodrigo, where we were questioning him, like he was our signature signing, £30 million, and we'd be like, But yeah, he's really made a really good impression. And I love the fact he articulates himself very well. I find, like, when I'm watching the press conferences, even post match or whatever, I think he really articulates himself really well, and he feels like I think, especially his first interview because he first signed to be manager, he really filled me with confidence, and it's nice that it's actually showing in our performances, in our results. I mean, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, hasn't it, really, to say, especially the Norwich and the Wolves game. I didn't expect Wolves one bit. Like, I was expecting that 2-0 scoreline at halftime. I thought, that's it. That's us done. Do you know what I mean? And for us to get...
Do you think, Rhiannon, just to cut in there, it's been a bit of a discussion point under the first 5 games under Jesse Marsch. But I do think, as much as I love Marcelo Bielsa and didn't want Marcelo Bielsa to go, I will caveat, I don't feel like we would have come back in that Wolves game under Bielsa. I think Jesse Marsch made a couple of really clever changes in terms of bringing on Charlie Cresswell, bringing on Robin Koch in midfield. I think really brave changes, to be fair, that if they'd have backfired and we'd lost 3 or 4-0, really would have got a bit of criticism for that. But I don't feel like we would have been able to score 3 goals in 30 minutes under Marcelo Bielsa, the way things have been going.
No, you're totally correct. I mean, I felt at the time, I mean, obviously I liked seeing Charlie Creswell on, but like there were some subs I was a bit like, okay, we'll just see how they plan out kind of thing. I wasn't 100% when because they first came on, but they definitely proved that because they were worth being on the pitch. And also we were forced into them. I mean, do you know what I mean? Because we were all injured. Everyone was going down like flies. And we were just like, oh my God, this is just a nightmare of a game. And Meslier and having Claesson on. Claesson, my God, he was fantastic. Yeah, so I'm glad for the boys, really. I'm glad, like, I couldn't, like, you could not take your eyes off that match. And it was so good for a neutral as well, wasn't it? Like, if you weren't Leeds United, you were like, oh my God.
I think that's the nature of what it's going to be like under Jesse Marsch. You know, I think it is going to be a continuation of chaos, but in a quite beautiful way, to be fair, especially when we win. I mean, that Southampton game is probably the most low-key game by far we've had in the 5, to be honest with you. I was thinking, at 1-1, I was thinking, there's going to be something happens in this game. You know, the way the other games have gone, I just can't see it playing out to a draw like it did. But Scott, one player Rhiannon mentions there who has definitely caught my eye as well. I know it's only been 5 games in, but Rodrigo Moreno is, for me, he's playing his best football in the Leeds United shirt. He's found this role just behind Dan James, just ahead of Forshaw and Klich, the 2 midfielders, in between the lines there, and he's dictating everything for us at this moment in time. How impressed by Rodrigo? I mean, I know you've not always been his biggest fan. I think, to be fair, that's
biggest fan.
What you used to call Rodrigo
for the past year.
What was that, Scott?
I've been calling him Fraudrigo. Well,
there we go.
Year. And under Jesse Marsch,
he's proven you wrong, hasn't he, mate? Let's have it. Let's have it right.
I love it. I love when I'm proved wrong. I love it. I love it. But Jesse Marsch is he's tapped into something, and he's now got Rodrigo looking like the player we thought we were getting. I generally do not have any complaints. We often call that under Bielsa the pivot that Phillips played in. It was the KP role, and just as you described, Rodrigo has made that area of the pitch his, and you can only describe that now as the Rodrigo role. But again, he's versatile, and you can see he's willing to go back still, and he looks better because he seems to be playing smarter. If you notice, his work rate still tends to be about the same, but he's doing it better. He looks like he wants things to happen. He wants it to work. He wants to get the ball back. He just looks like he wants it to happen, and he never looked like that once under Bielsa, not once.
I think it is just positionally. I think, you know, changing it so he's got no kind of defensive responsibility. Well, he has got defensive responsibility, but certainly less so than he did under Marcelo Bielsa. He's just there. Yeah. He's just able to just create and play the game as he sees it. A bit like that man behind you, Scott. You know, we talk about the Rodrigo role. It's quite reminiscent of Pablo, I think, the last couple of games. And you look at the way he's bypassing players, Rodrigo, as well. You know, everything seems sharper. And yeah, just every touch, there's something happening, every single touch. But you've mentioned another player there, and it's Kalvin Phillips. And I want to get the guys that are watching this, I want to get the guys into this as well. People in the comments. I think tomorrow Jesse Marsch has got a bit of a conundrum because you've got Mateusz Klich, Adam Forshaw. We know he's probably going to play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2. Either way, it's going to be 2 in midfield. I think that's been a constant under Jesse Marsch. Forshaw, for me, I'd say he's a strong contender for player of the season for Leeds United this season, to be totally honest with you. Mateusz Klich is probably, as well as Rodrigo, probably the second most improved player over these 5 games, or certainly a player who's playing his best football of the season in these last 5 games. And then you got Kalvin Phillips. I mean, how do you see it, Rhiannon? So, guys in the comments, 2 out of those 3, which 2 are you going with? Let's get some comments in. Rhiannon, I'll go to you first.
I think I'd like to see Phillips and Forshaw. And And it's not just because Phillips is our best player, but it's just the fact that I think he deserves a chance after injury just to see if he can still make the effects or the impact on the game like he used to before injury. But I wouldn't be surprised if he put Klich and Forshaw in. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know. I guess this will tell us a lot about Marsch, because with Bielsa you could literally predict, couldn't you? You could literally predict the team lineup Douglas was going to come out, and you could predict the substitutions he was going to make. So it would be very interesting to see what the lineup is going to be. And if he picks Phillips, then he's not afraid of making those kind of decisions that may potentially upset people. But at the end of the day, he won't be afraid to make that substitution if needed either. So even if Phillips does start, if he's having a bad half, he could easily sub Phillips for Klich. And yes, it may upset some fans, but he's not afraid of making them decisions. If it's gonna better us and make an impact on the game, he won't be afraid to make it.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, everyone in the comments has said Phillips. They want Phillips to start. It's a hard one. It is a hard one. I'd probably lean towards Phillips and Forshaw as well. I've no problem if Klich starts. I can see totally the reason why Jesse Marsch would start Klich. But I think as well, I also think not just once, but think it will be Phillips and Forshaw based on what Jesse Marsch said in that post-match against Southampton. He's massively, massively praising Calvin for his impact against Southampton. I think Calvin himself said he didn't feel he'd done much, but I think Jesse Marsch has spent a good 2 or 3 minutes out of a 10-minute interview talking about the calm, I think it was the words he used, that Calvin brings to the team. So I personally think it will be Calvin and Forshaw. I just can't see Forshaw being dropped. I don't see... I think Forshaw's the one at this moment in time. I'm not saying he's our best midfielder, but he seems to be the one that's... I think he's the certainty. I think he's the certainty. It's a case of will it be Klich or Phillips next to him. But Scott, what are you saying, mate?
It's a tough one because Forshaw and Phillips pretty much do the exact same job. And one thing I've noticed when Forshaw and Klich are playing, Klich tends to have a little bit more freedom going forward. Now, he's still a workhorse. That's the thing. I don't want anyone overlooking Klich because he's, again, someone that I've criticised very heavily this season. But again, recently, he's shown that work ethic. He's getting back. He's getting stuck in. But going forward as well, he's got much better vision. And his link-up play with Rodrigo and Rafinha has been improving. Under Bielsa, again, I don't want to sound like Bielsa bashing because I'm not. But under Bielsa, Klich's link-up with Rafinha and Rodrigo was borderline horror movie. Like, we're talking Wes Craven. It was awful. So I don't know. I'm in two minds because I think Forshaw and Phillips is what is going to happen. But does that mean Phillips gets more freedom to go forward and attack?
More like his England role, perhaps.
Yeah, because I personally would prefer to see Phillips attack more than Forshaw. I think Forshaw's got a bit more level-headedness. And the way we're very prone to like goals and mistakes, I want to see more level-headedness defensively. And we just need to take a few more risks going forward. But when it comes to that pairing, I think Forshaw and Phillips is probably the best option. And I would like to see Phillips attack a bit more in that role. Otherwise, you're just sitting with two defensive midfielders and you're losing that attacking edge.
I think they've all got merits, strong merits. And I'm not for 1 minute. I think people have took what I've said before in terms of Klich and Phillips. I've not said Klich is better than Phillips or vice versa. I just think it's a case of, I think with Phillips only just coming back from injury, we've got to remember Calvin Phillips has had 4 months out. 4 months out. So, coming into a Jesse Marsch team that's as intense as a Marcelo Bielsa team, maybe a little bit less, but certainly a high-pressing team is a big ask. It's a big ask, certainly in a different role as well. So that's got to be part of the thinking as well. I think for me, Forshaw Phillips is the one you look at and think, the way Watford play, Watford are going to sit off us tomorrow. I think we've got to make sure we dominate the ball. We're not giving the ball away in cheap areas, and we're not getting caught on the counter-attack. That's something Jesse Marsch has said. We can't afford to get caught on the counter-attack. Ismaila Sarr caused problems against Liverpool doing that, making runs on the counter. He's a big problem. So for me, I look at it and say, you've got to go with the midfield that's going to keep the ball the best, I think. And I think Forshaw and Phillips are more natural passers than Klich. I think Klich's better box-to-box than both. No doubt about that for me. But I just think in terms of what the game needs from the start, I feel is better suited than a Forshaw and Phillips. You can bring on Klich. You've got to remember, we've got better options on the bench now. We've got more depth in the squad. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We haven't made a signing in terms of since Jesse Marsch come in, but the way players have come back at once to an extent, it's worked in our favour. So for me, I would go Forshaw Phillips just for the fact that I think we need to make sure we're keeping the ball well. We've got 60% of the ball, dominating play, and really pushing Watford back as much as we can because they are lethal on the counter. Dennis, Sarr, whoever it is playing up top for them, Hernandez, I know is someone you like, Scott.
Oh.
They've got.
I hope he plays crap tomorrow, but I think he is brilliant, and his goal against Arsenal is going to be goal of the season. I don't care what anyone says. That is goal of the season. That was unreal. You don't see goals like that anymore. Not in our league. But
no, not at all.
And he's underestimated.
Well, let's move on to the centre backs. I think everyone else in the team, I think we can be pretty sure it's going to be Illan Meslier in goal, Luke Ayling and Stuart Dallas fullbacks. Again, I'd imagine it'd be the same front four of Rafinha, Rodrigo, Harrison, Dan James. I think the centre-backs is the only kind of contentious one, really. I think Liam Cooper, I think all three of us would say Liam Cooper is pretty solidly in that left centre-back spot. Who partners him for you, Rhiannon?
That's a tough one. God. I think even under Marsch, I know Llorente has been a bit still dodgy. So I'd probably go with Robin. I'd probably do Cooper and Robin because Robin has shown he's definitely improved under Marsch. And so, yeah, it'll be nice to actually see them actually play a game together now. Coops is back, because I like the fact that Cooper and Phillips are back now because it'll bring more stability in the team. As in, it'll keep everyone calm, it'll keep everyone anchored, and because I found that when they weren't there, everyone was losing their heads. There was no leadership. Everyone just did not know their job. It's like they literally just lost their minds, and so they will definitely bring bring the leadership back and keep everyone calm and on point, and hopefully we can get a win against Watford because I don't know, it's too tense if we lose, but knowing Leeds, we will lose.
No.
What?
No.
It's a very Leeds thing. Come on, guys. It's a very Leeds thing.
I don't want to think about the next 4 games after this. If we lose, no, don't. No, this is
I don't even. No, but don't.
You're right. Leeds will go out. We'll get stuffed by Watford and Palace, and then we'll go out and hammer Arsenal, Man City, and Chelsea. It's an absolute Leeds thing. Beat the teams you should beat, and beat the teams that you don't care. But you do care, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I'd say is, I think they've all got the merits. A bit like the midfield situation, I think they've all got the merits. I could even mention Charlie Creswell in this whole debate, in terms of his impact against Wolves, but I would probably also go with Koch and Cooper. I think Cooper's an absolute certainty, but I think in terms of, I just think Koch gives you that aerial presence as well. In a game like this, Watford are going to be quite long ball into the target man kind of thing. So I just think, I'd like to see Robin Koch in that position. He's not had a lot of games at centre back this season. I think he's another player who's been good, really good, I think, under Jesse Marsch so far. I think he's a massive part of that Watford game. So yeah, I'm going to go Koch and Cooper as well. Scott?
I think we'll see Cooper and Llorente, unfortunately. He should probably go Cooper and Koch, but I would like to see Cooper and Cresswell. I think it's a foregone conclusion it'll be Cooper. But like me personally, I have a whole different view of our defence. And Dallas should not be playing at left back at all.
I think Dallas has done pretty well, to be honest.
He's not the player from last year. And to be
honest, Scott, I disagree there. I think Dallas is another player who's playing, some of his best football of the season at left back. To be honest, I know maybe long term you can question: is he a left back long term? Is he going to be better at right back?
I'd rather he was at right back and put Pascal at left back.
There's a case for it,
but second half against.
But Aylin's been good going forward.
He's been great. He's been awful all season. I wouldn't have Ayling even on the bench.
But Scott, Aylin's been good going forward. He's got a decent little, in terms of that Wolves game, could create a couple of chances against Southampton. I know maybe defensively it's not been the best of seasons for Luke Ayling. I don't think it's been the best of seasons for a lot of players, but I think Aylin and Dallas has done okay, to be honest, at fullback in this system.
I think Dallas has done better than Ayling this season.
Yeah,
I think
that's great.
Because the thing is, he's played in his normal position, which is a midfielder this season, and actually has been one of the better players because we have been shockingly bad, and then. He can do a job at left back. Like ever since he's moved to left back and like Marsch has been in, he has been consistent. I don't. He isn't a left back, but you just know that's why he's called Mr. Reliable, because he can do a job. It may
he's
not
the best option we have, isn't he? Right?
It may not be the perfect job, but he does a job. Like. Who would you rather have? Would you have Firpo back in? Because I bloody wouldn't.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what other options do we have? Seriously.
That's true. Pascal's shown that he can do a job at left back.
Strick is a shout. I just think I don't want to upset the apple cart really in a big game like this. In terms of, I'm just thinking Sarr against. Sarr will probably play off the right, possibly. Might even be Hernandez there. Whoever it is, I've looked at what Stuart Dallas has done against really good wingers. Wilfred Zaha earlier in the season, a couple of other games as well. He had a pretty decent game against Fornells, West Ham. I think he does a good job. When he's man for man against a tricky winger, I think he does a decent job. To be totally honest with you. So in that sense, I still think Stuart Dallas has got to go to left back. I think he's been much improved, to be totally honest with you, from the first half of the season.
It comes down to a lack of options, really, doesn't it? Though, like it's default. He's the default left back at the minute because what is the option? Pascal. That there's no other choice unless you want.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? But
I don't think
we all know Dallas can do a job anywhere. And I don't want people thinking I'm anti-Dallas, because you're not allowed to have an opinion anymore without being anti-someone. Like, I love Dallas. There he is. There he's a drone. I know Rihanna loves him a wee bit more than I do. Pervert. But like, I just we need more options, and again, that's something for another day and whatever.
Yeah, but that's only going to come because it comes to summer, and Jesse Marsch can actually get into the market. I mean, I'd happily sell Firpo in summer, happily. And then,
if you were another club, would you happily buy him though?
Huh?
If you were another club, would you buy him?
Well, let's move on. Let's move on from the summer because, look, we still need to stay in this league yet. We need to remember that. We still need to stay in this league. I think tomorrow's is a different kind of task for Jesse Marsch. I think I've said before in the group chat, the first 5 games, teams are trying to play football against us. Watford will not try and play football against us tomorrow. They're going to play on the counter. They're going to sit in. It's going to be more difficult to press them because when we go to press them, they're just going to smash it long. They're not going to try and play out the back and then invite us on. They're going to smash it long. And that's where I think you need Koch and Cooper to be really dominant for me in the air. Got to be dominant in the air. Melié's got to know when to come, not come, etc., etc. I think it's a different type of task for Marsch tomorrow. I think it's a game where we've not had a lot of the ball in these first 5 games compared to what we used to under Marcelo Bielsa. But tomorrow, we are going to have a fair bit of the ball. And it's about seeing... We've got to break a team down tomorrow. I don't think we really had that situation in the first 5 games. Maybe second half against Wolves, but the way with 10 men is a different task for us tomorrow. Scott, do you feel we're equipped to break down a team that's defending really, really deep?
Yes.
With Rodrigo and Rafinha.
Without a doubt. I'll tell you now, you touched on it earlier there just briefly about the Wolves come back, and I'll go as far as to say the Norwich come back. Those are 2 games that we drop points in. Norwich equalised in those damn minutes. We don't pull back and win under Bielsa, and the same thing with Wolves. Like, that's done and dusted at 2-0. Watford tomorrow, we're going to see a very, very different... I think we'll see a very, very different Leeds show up than the earlier game in the season, where we pretty much stole a win off them. And let's be honest, we were poor against Watford. It wasn't one of the worst performances, but my God, we stole a win.
Really? That one, I thought we were pretty dominant in that game. Yeah, we could have had 2. Did 1-0 win, Llorente?
It was 1-0 win, yeah.
We could have had 2 penalties. I think Tyler's hit the bar. Nah, Scott, I disagree.
I thought overall we stole that. I just thought overall we stole it because the week before, or 2 weeks before, it was Southampton, and we pretty much they done the same thing. Do you know what I mean? I just think we stole. But this one, I think, as you said, we're going to get a lot more possession. And this is going to be, I'm looking at this as a great opportunity for us to show what we can do when we've got the ball for so long. This is going to be a game where Harrison can finally decide and make a decision and stick to it and follow it through. This is a game where we can see Dan James maybe get a goal or 2 if everything falls into place and if the deliveries and the vision and everything just goes to plan. Again, these are all ifs. These are I'm just surmising.
It's going to
be. This is the perfect game for these type of things to be shown, and I think we will see them.
It's going to be a different type of game, though. I think, as I said, the first 5 games have been chaos. We don't want that tomorrow, though. We want to be dominating the ball, not allowing Watford to counter, not allowing Watford to get up the pitch. We want to just pin them in for 90 minutes or as much as we can. And just we want it to be quite a calm game tomorrow, to be honest with you. We don't want it to turn into a basketball match. I think most matches, the way we set up, we do want the basketball match against Wolves. We kind of lured Wolves into a basketball match, didn't we, really, at 2-0 up. They really wanted to sit in, but we said, no. We're going basketball match. We're going basketball match. Norwich City, exact same kind of thing. They kind of wanted to sit in a little bit. We didn't allow them to do that. We've got to be looking to do the same things against Watford for me. It's so important we're in control of that tomorrow because I do not want to be seeing an end-to-end football match because we saw Liverpool versus Watford. Watford did really well in that game. I know they lost 2-0, but they created 2 or 3 really good chances, some good Alisson saves. So, I'm not getting too carried away. Watford have got the quality for me. They've got the experience there that if they did beat us tomorrow, I would be worried. I would be worried that they could put a run together to keep themselves safe. But I just think, I know there's still 8 games to go. I still think this is very, very decisive. Either way, I think this is very decisive, this game, in terms of how I think the tone of the next 4 games, Rhiannon, because as we said, these next 4 games after this are pretty nasty, aren't they? Palace away, City at home, Arsenal away, Chelsea at home. If we came into those 4 games off the back of a win, I think it puts a whole different kind of spin on it. If we go into it needing results, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know. It does have that must-win feel to it, especially how well Palace has been doing as well. It's just those upcoming fixtures really do look horrible. However, in a way, I know you shouldn't always rely on other teams, but obviously, obviously we'd feel a lot more calmer, a lot more relaxed if we win against Watford. And not, I mean, obviously we're all Leeds fans and we'll blow the Leeds trumpet all the time, but Everton's fixtures are so bad. They're worse than ours.
Yep.
Haven't they got like there's a like the top 6 teams or like top 8 at least, and there's like in the next 6 games as well.
Yeah,
and they're
essentially all the ones challenging for Champions League to play pretty much.
So, in a weird way, if they still play consistently rubbish, it makes the whole situation just a little bit more relaxed as well, doesn't it? Like, because then I know we should focus on us and only us, but that would make me feel a bit more better about myself, knowing that Everton's lost all the rest of all their games as well, like leading up to it. Yes, Burnley winning, it would have been better had we had a bit of a bigger point gap, but it would be amazing, right, if we won against Watford and got at least a point off Palace, because then I'd definitely feel a lot more better against coming up against City, Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea, I feel we could potentially get a point against. We have done in the past. And
we were unlucky against them last time, Rhiannon.
Yes,
they
we were.
Stole that.
Yeah. And I think they're not as good a team now as they were then. I don't think. I think obviously.
Didn't we lose 3-2 or 3-1?
3-2. Yeah. And that was right in the middle of our prime injury crisis.
So I think we could potentially get something from Chelsea. Arsenal's just going to be one of them where you think you could get something, but we'd end up losing just like we have done last season and earlier in the season. So the ones I probably see us losing for definite are City and Arsenal.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. I think nearly everything else we can get something from. Even when you look at the fixtures beyond that, Brighton and Brentford as well. Both very winnable games. But also very losable games.
Yeah, but also now that we have Marsch, I don't think we'll get a battering against City like as we did earlier in the season. I think we're more clued up for that now.
I hope not. But could you imagine the feeling on Sunday evening, Rhiannon? Say we win tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the scum absolutely nail the toffees back into their Werther's original packet. Could you imagine the feeling? Because as of Sunday night, depending on our result and Everton's result, Oscar, are we safe? I think we are.
No. You can't say. I'm like 𝐃𝐿 on this.
I am not saying no until we are
mathematically done
on the league table. That is when I will just feel so much better about it. But no, I'm not playing this. Oh, we could be safe because we got these amount of points when we've still got 5 games left to play and there's still more points up for grabs, because you just know it'll be one of them things where it'll be Brentford, won't it? It'll be on the last day of the season and we'll lose against Brentford because it's just, again, a Leeds thing.
It's Leeds.
It's Leeds.
Yeah, now look, I do not, whatever we do, I do not want to be going to Brentford needing something. I do not want to be going into that Brentford game needing something.
No.
Absolutely.
If we end up having to go to Brentford to win, that clip of Dallas and all singing "Mind the Gap, Thomas Frank" is going to be getting played on repeat at all of us. If we haven't got this done and dusted before Brentford, but
you know what though? We will deserve that though. But the thing is, I'll totally own that shit. It doesn't matter to me. But I just know some Leeds fans will just get so wound up by it if that ever happened. Oh,
that's the thing. Even if we did go down, we're all still going to be here. We're not going to go running off crying.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
We're not going to go down. No, we're not going to go down.
I don't think
we're not.
We're not going down. You've gone from one extreme to the other there, Scott. You're talking about being safe, and then you're talking about mind the gap Thomas Frank. I mean, in 10 seconds.
If you're forgetting the F words there. If it gets to Brentford and we haven't got it sewn up, like I don't even know. I don't think a watch along's going to happen that day.
But guys, let's talk substitutions then. Let's talk about Joffrey's potential impact on this game. It looks like he's going to be available tomorrow, despite his knock that he picked up on Monday night, or Tuesday night. No, Monday night. It was Monday night. Against Crystal Palace. Wasn't it? It was Monday night. I mean, for me, I'm looking at Joffrey and thinking he could certainly be someone who impacts this game off the bench. I think it's quite clear now that the strategy is Dan James or Jack Harrison for 70 minutes, press, making runs for 70 minutes, absolutely relentless, run Watford into the ground, run whoever the opposition are into the ground. Joffrey comes on for the last 20 minutes and tries to make a difference if we're chasing the game. It just feels to me like that's what we're working towards. And I've got no problem with that at all. We've done a similar thing 2 years ago with Bielsa in terms of Patrick Bamford, Eddie Nketiah. Last season with Patrick Bamford and Rodrigo coming on up top and late on in games and trying to score goals. I've got no problem with that at all. And I think, to be honest with you, I think that suits Joffrey. I think at this moment in time, for Joffrey's development, I think it's better Joffrey coming on for 20, 30 minutes trying to impact games, because I think starting a game and coming off the bench are two very, very different things. I think, obviously, Joffrey's still got to get into the pressing side of things for Leeds United. I still think that's maybe one slight improvement for Joffrey. I certainly think in the future he will be Leeds United's number 9 or number 10, whichever position he does take up long term. But I think he is our super sub for me. And I think another person I want to talk about is Crescencio Somerville as well. I think he's someone who could really, I think will come off the bench, to be honest, after the way he played against Palace in that game. Potentially for Jack Harrison, potentially even on Rafinha's side. So I think it's exciting. When you're looking at our bench, to be honest with you, Rhiannon, tomorrow, I think it's an exciting bench. No matter what the starting 11 is, I think we have got players on that bench who I feel can make the difference.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I say, Joffrey. As much as we've always said, that Joffrey should start. Oh, Joffrey should start this game. Joffrey should start that game. You can't deny that he's such a great impact sub. Like you can't. Like the stuff he's done in the last 20 minutes of a game has been insane. He got the penalty for Rodrigo against Wolves at home. Then you've got him scoring that absolutely. I've watched that link up play about 50 times. Like I could not stop watching it after that Norwich game. I kept watching the highlights, the 3-minute highlights. I kept rewatching the bloody game. I literally fast forwarded the game to that last 10 minutes because it was just a peach. Like how it was cocked long ball. Then sorry. Look, it's a German name for cook. Like that's what it is in German. All right, guys, stop with the innuendos. Right, and then
kiss the cock. That's just German for kiss the cook.
Right.
Always finds a way to make it more awkward, does Scott?
Gelhardt gets the header and Rafinha, because you think Rafinha's got perfect opportunity to do this, and then he runs it past the keeper and we're thinking, oh crap, he's lost it now. Like moment's gone, he's not going to redeem himself. That's it. Chance is over. It's 1-1. Like that's that. But the way he just crosses it to Gelhardt and he just hits at the back of the net. Oh, it was just amazing. And he literally encompassed all of Leeds United fans all at once. Just the sheer joy. And I can't believe how loud Ellen Road was then. But I think he's still got a lot to work on. He's still young. He's got plenty of time. He's going to be an absolute peach of a player. Like, he's got so much potential coming through. And until he actually works on some of probably his pressing or his defensive side of his game, I don't think he's going to be starting anytime soon. I think he's perfect for an impact sub, and just hopefully he'll score more last minute winners for us.
It's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. But I do think future he will be the first team regular. He'll be the team I think we'll build the team around in a couple of years' time. I really do. I genuinely do think he'll be the man for Leeds United. He will be the face of Leeds United in a couple of years' time. I think he's that good. I think similar with Charlie Creswell, Crescencio Somerville as well. But just before we finish then, I'm going to go into some predictions. I'm going to go to you first, Scott. Go on. Watford Leeds tomorrow. What are you going for?
I don't know. I haven't done a prediction in the last 3 games and we've got points.
Well, okay. Rhiannon, what's your prediction then?
I'll not do a prediction. I'll do an optimistic view. This isn't a prediction. I'm optimistic, believing that we can win this 3-1.
Okay. Rhiannon?
I'm going to say Leeds 2, Watford 1.
Okay.
What about
I'm going to go the same, I was thinking 1-0, but I thought, no, I think both teams have got some good attacking talent. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I don't think it'll be straightforward. I think it's going to be a pretty horrible game, but as long as we win, there's going to be 2 teams fighting for their lives, especially Watford. But I'd back us. I think we have just about got a little bit more quality. And I think off the bench we've got options as well. But it's not going to be easy at all. It's not going to be easy. And arguably, it's our toughest game so far under Jesse Marsch in terms of how Watford are going to set up against us. But I guess, guys, we'll leave it there. 40 minutes. Keep hitting that like button if you haven't done already. Smash that subscribe button as well. We'll have plenty of post-match content too. You might see some familiar-ish faces tomorrow on All East TV or from past All East TV, potentially. But we'll wait and see. But guys, I'll leave it there anyway. Smash that like button and subscribe button as well. Big thanks to Scott and Rhiannon too. And we are pushing for 25k, so if you can help us get there, it would very much make us happy. I think we'll leave it there anyway, guys. See you later.